Hello everyone, welcome back. I wanted to share some thoughts with you guys about what's going on down in Virginia, okay? For some of you that may not be aware, and I doubt there's anybody following this channel that is not aware, but the governor of Virginia, who I'm not going to call by name, I'm just going to call him Governor Blackface, is basically planning to push forth a lot of gun control, gun confiscation, mass arrests. So he's planning a very strong attack on individual freedoms and the Second Amendment. Okay, so that's what's happening, and this is, and I'm making this video at the end of December 2019. Basically we're a couple of days away from 2020. So there's a lot of, basically information is coming out a lot fast. There's a lot of rumors, circulating that change from day to day. So all this information is time sensitive, okay? So what I want to do is I'm not going to focus on the governor because I see him more as a puppet, okay? I want to focus on the man behind him, okay, which is Bloomberg, okay? There's two main components to why this is happening in Virginia. Number one is Bloomberg, okay? He's the first component of this. He's basically, in the last election, he essentially bought the election. He put a lot of money, behind Governor Blackface, behind a lot of those legislators that took off, that won, and he flipped the state blue. And Bloomberg is the number one component behind what's happening in Virginia. Okay. The second component is all these people that have been moving into Virginia from out of state. Okay. There's a lot of people that have been moving into northern Virginia, out of Washington D.C., out of Maryland, out of Delaware. And what these people have done is basically they destroyed their own states, their own cities, and now, like a virus, they're spreading into Virginia for new territory to destroy. And it's not like they've learned from their mistakes and they're coming in. They're coming in and they're voting like Democrats, and they're planning to destroy Virginia through Democrat policies. Okay, so those are the two important components as to what is happening in Virginia and why it's happening in Virginia. Okay, number one, you got Bloomberg, and number two, you have the out-of-state people moving into northern Virginia. Okay, so now I want to focus on the rumors that I've been hearing out of Virginia. And I've been hearing these mostly through social media. Okay, and you might think for a second, well, why would I be paying attention to rumors? Well, rumors are really important, especially in this case, because it tells you what people are thinking. Okay, to me, this is clearly a case where you want to buy on the rumors, sell on the news. Okay, and I'm referring to the stock market philosophy there. The idea is that you have to act on rumors because by the time you actually get the news and it's actually put into print, it's too late for you to actually do anything. Okay, if you're not in position already, you're not going to get into position at that point. And this is especially true if you need to buy any equipment, any supplies. You need to get that now. Don't wait until bad things actually start happening, because there's a good chance there's not going to be any shipments going into Virginia at that point. Okay, so let's talk about some of these rumors that I hear coming out of Virginia. And the first rumor is that the governor said that he was going to get the National Guard involved. Okay, so we have here a potential civil war with the National Guard getting involved. If we look at civil wars historically, armies typically split up and take sides. Okay, you have a lot of people in the National Guard, which is composed primarily of people from Virginia, who are going to have people living in the South. Okay, so those people are not going to turn against their brothers and sisters. They are more likely to side up with them. Okay, likewise, you're going to have people in the National Guard that have family and friends, in the northern cities. So again, those people aren't going to turn against those people. So a likely scenario, okay, is a likely hypothetical scenario, if this cold civil war actually turned hot, is that the National Guard and any government agencies that are involved would split up and take sides. Okay, so you're going to have equally armed people fighting each other. Okay. The second rumor I have heard coming out of Virginia, okay, mostly on social media, is that the governor was planning to cut off the power of the Southern rebels. Okay, and the counter rumor that I have heard is that they were equally capable of doing the same thing to him and to the northern cities. And the reality is, if this cold civil war actually turned hot, there's no possible scenario where the power grid stays up for either side. Okay, so you will have a blackout throughout most of the state. The reason is because you have hundreds of miles of unsecured power lines running throughout the state that can be easily sabotaged by either side. Okay. So that's the reality of this. There will not be any power. Now, if we look at the situation, the southern country people, okay, or country people in general, are in a much better position to deal with blackouts, long-term blackouts, okay, because basically, first of all, these people have probably done some camping, okay, they probably have fireplaces, they probably got livestock, they got chickens, they got some cows, they got a few pigs, they've got firewood, okay, so they have their own wells, they'll have their own septic systems. So they're, and a lot of these wells, they can be hand operated. Okay, so country people are in a much better position to deal with a long-term blackout. City people, by the token that, first of all, they're like tightly, they're living together really tight. They don't have resources. Okay, if they're cold, they can't start fires because they'll burn down their houses. Okay, so that's not an option, and there's a good chance that a lot of those people would start fires, because they're cold, and actually start, large fires, that spread from house to house. So that would be a potentially disastrous situation in cities. The other thing with cities is that, a lot of water systems and septic systems, they need electricity to run. So basically, if the septic systems break down, now you have the spread of disease. So this is potentially a much more disastrous situation for city people than it would be for country people. Okay. And then the third rumor that I hear coming out of Virginia, okay, again mostly through social media, is that the governor was planning mass arrests. And the counter rumors that I'm hearing is that the so-called rebels were basically planning counter mass arrests. Okay, a lot of the sheriffs in those southern counties have basically taken vows not to enforce the governor's gun control. I believe there's at least one that has said that he would deputize thousands of people, and basically that's a militia. So basically this sheriff would be forming his own militia, and this has the power of law behind it. Okay, because the counties and the sheriffs that were locally elected, it can be argued that these are that this is a lawful action. Okay. So basically we're heading into a very messy situation. Okay. I have heard some talk, and I have not verified this, but I have heard some talk that the power to raise militias actually rests with the counties, not with the state. Okay, again, that's unverified, but again, that would give a better legal position to the counties versus the governor. Okay, so those are the rumors that I hear coming out of Virginia. National Guard getting involved, power being cut off, mass arrests. Okay, there's the governor thinks that he's going to be going down there to disarm the people. There's a very good chance that the people that he's sending down there will be disarmed themselves. Okay, because basically you're sending people into an area that they're not familiar with, against people that are familiar with the landscape, are familiar with the roads, and that this is potentially a very messy situation. That can get very ugly. Okay, and I really hope it doesn't come to that. I really hope that the governor just realizes that he's wrong, that he's being manipulated by Bloomberg, and he just backs down on this. And the people living that have moved into those northern cities, I hope that they realize that they are guests. Okay, they are guests there. Furthermore, if all these people that have moved into, into these northern cities, they moved into Virginia because they wanted to, to take part in a better lifestyle. Okay, well, if all this stuff happens, okay, there's a good chance that those people aren't going to want any part of this. What they're going to do is they're going to leave. They're going to go back home. Okay, so these new legislators and the governors who have taken power as a result of these new people moving in, well, after these people move out, there's a good chance that they're going to lose the next election. Okay, so that's another component to this. Okay, those newly arrived people probably don't have much family in the area. They're probably not very invested in the area. Most likely they're renting. And if things get uncomfortable for them, okay, and lights going out is very uncomfortable, there's a good chance that they're going to leave. Okay. So basically, everything that, and there's a logical analysis here. Everything seems to favor the country people versus the city people. Okay, city people really don't create anything. All they do is tap on keyboards all day and and push paper around. Okay, it's not like 100 years ago where the cities actually had factories and were actually producing stuff. Modern day cities really are not that productive. They generally depend on the countryside for supplies, and food. So the food's coming out of the countryside, and any supplies that they get are pretty much coming through the countryside. And speaking of which, in an actual hot civil war type of situation, there's a good chance that those roads are going to get blocked and cut off, and you're not going to be getting supplies into those cities. Okay, so again, this is a theoretical analysis, based on rumors that I've been hearing on social media, and I kind of wanted to organize everything in my mind and kind of theorize how it might play out. Okay, so next I want to talk about some potential results out of this. Okay. Now, one of the things I should mention is that that the NRA has been very quiet throughout this whole process. Okay, now the NRA can play a role in this. Okay, the NRA basically is in a position to tie up the governor with hundreds of lawyers. Okay, Bloomberg made a big mistake. Okay, he thought that the NRA was leading gun rights, and that's not the case at all. The NRA is following gun rights. Gun rights, individual freedom is not driven and led by the NRA. Bloomberg assumed that he would just, if he would just cut off the NRA's head, basically he could become king of the United States. Okay, and he's starting to find out that, basically the NRA has not been protecting us from Bloomberg. Okay, it's the other way around. The NRA has been protecting Bloomberg from us. Okay, the NRA is the one that's been coming in, and compromising and being annoying like that. Okay, and willing to negotiate. Okay, the free people of the United States are not going to negotiate their rights away. Okay, the NRA does that. Now, that said, I would not take the NRA and just throw them out. The NRA is kind of like a half broken down tool. It can serve a function. Okay, you just gotta use that tool the right way. Like I have some tools that are kind of half broken, rusted, whatever. And they can be used in certain circumstances. So the NRA kind of fits that. The NRA can be a tool to get the governor to back down. They can use hundreds of lawyers to basically bog down the legal system for the governor. So the NRA can play a role in this. Okay, so I wouldn't just discard them. I wouldn't say, the NRA is just garbage. Just throw them in the wastebasket. They're a tool. They're there. Use them as best as you tactically can. Okay, it doesn't make tactical sense to not make use of something that's available to you. You want to use it. Okay, so that's the first potential result that I see out of this, that the NRA actually becomes useful in some way. Okay. The second thing I see coming out of this is that the well is going to get soured for all those people coming into Virginia. Okay, this is all the reason why, a large part of the reason why this is happening is, as I said earlier, is because of all these new people coming into the state from out of state. Well, this is a very uncomfortable situation for them. They are most likely going to want to leave. Okay, so that's a second possible result that I see coming out of this. Okay, and the third possible result that I see coming out of this is that gun rights actually expand. Okay, especially as the counties are now in a stronger position. Because up until now it's been individuals fighting through through the court system up through the Supreme Court, basically trying to maintain and preserve their gun rights. Now the counties are in a position to say, hey, listen, you see what's happening. We're dealing with a dictator, okay, with a potential tyrant. We need those guns in order to be able to defend ourselves, okay? So I actually see the potential for gun rights expanding as a result out of this, okay? And finally, just to kind of wrap everything up, I want to say that we absolutely have to win this in Virginia, okay? Because what's going to happen here is that if Bloomberg wins, okay, and again, this is basically Bloomberg versus the free people of Virginia, okay? If Bloomberg wins, he's going to take this same model and he's going to take it to the other states, okay? He's going to start with the states with the swing states, okay? And after he's successful there, he'll keep going to the other states. So basically, a line has to be drawn in the sand here, in Virginia, and this has to be, this has to be won. Okay, there's no place to fall back. If Virginia's lost, the rest of the states are going to start falling one by one, and we're going to start losing many more of our rights. And Bloomberg is not going to just stop with gun rights. I mean, if you look what he did in New York City, he had just stop and frisk. Where basically he was just randomly, he was having police randomly stop people on the street and search them. He wanted to do everything. He wanted to control what people could drink. So Bloomberg is not just going to stop with taking away people's gun rights. He wants to take away all individual rights. Okay. So if you guys have any questions, comments, please post it. Share this video. Hit that bell button so you get notifications. And very important, I want to hear some comments from you guys because, again, this is being driven by rumors that we're hearing, and rumors are important because rumors tell you what people are thinking, okay? So I want to hear the comments, and if you share this, okay, especially if you share it on Facebook, and it'll bring other people into my channel, and then we can, maybe get some additional ideas. And I even welcome, comments from people on the other side because, I want to know what the other side's thinking, okay? So, that's an important component. You want as much data and as much information as possible. I want to know what the other side is thinking as well. So I'm going to keep following it. I'm going to keep following this, and I'm really hoping that this gets settled peacefully, and the governor does the smart thing. The governor Blackface backs down and realizes that the free people are not going to back down. And what it comes down to in the end is that liberty is worth the risk of death. Okay, I'll talk to you guys next time.